Thank you so much, ma'am, for your kind words. Majority of you may not be knowing the caliber of ma'am. Only with one word I can mention. She is not just a teacher. Actually, she is a mentor. We have to understand the difference between a teacher and a mentor. While she is a mentor, she will not just teach you. She will show you how to do the things. We know that a teacher can be a facilitator who will be helping you in order to do. But our Shashikala ma'am, I'm proud to say that she is my teacher. And she will be always with you, whether you are doing it. And she will show you how to do it. That is not the greatness she is having. And I know you might have influenced by her talk because she is such a lovely person also. Not only a mentor, such a lovely, kind person. Thank you so much, ma'am. Now it's time to share the opinion. Randomly we have selected a few persons from your side. Those people I'll call, even though you have anything to share, you are also welcomed. But randomly we have selected one three. First I would like to call upon Sister Nancy from Department of Education, St. Anne's College of Education.
Respected dignitaries on the dais, faculty members, MS students, and all my research colleagues. As we come to the end of these 6 days of workshop on research and publication ethics, first of all, I would like to thank Mangalore University Department of Education for organizing such an informative and useful workshop for all the research scholars of the university. I highly appreciate the efforts taken by the coordinator of the workshop and on the organizing committee for the meticulous planning for these 6 successful days and for inviting highly knowledgeable and resourceful persons for the various sessions. The workshop that we have just completed has really been useful for all the research scholars, not only for their coursework exam, but also in their research and professional career. Once again, I thank the coordinator and all the faculty members for the successful planning and implementation of the workshop. A special note of thanks to all the MS students of the Department of Education for their active involvement in the workshop. Thank you all for making us a part of the program. When we appreciate the initiative of the organizers, we look forward to such workshops in the future which would offer us newer platforms to imbibe new ideas and widen the horizons to accept the innovative methods. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sister, for sharing your opinion. Now I call upon Raifa from Department of Applied Zoology.
Respected dignitaries on and off the days, and to everyone gathered here, a very good evening to everyone. So firstly, I would like to thank the Department of Education for organizing this workshop on research and publication ethics. So I feel ethics which we need in every profession, but it's mostly needed in research, which is lacking nowadays. And every resource person over here gave us a very good knowledge on the ethics to be followed in the research as well as in the publications. So I would like to thank Department of Education for organizing this workshop and executing it very well and giving us a chance to be a part of this beautiful workshop. And to talk about the resource persons who are here for the days. Everyone were wonderful in their own way, and the Department of Education have chosen the best resource person. I believe that. And so the coordinators and the teachers or the guest faculties and the students of the Department of Education, they have organized this very well. I look forward for such kind of workshop, that is research and publication ethics, maybe annually. So when there is admission of the PhD students every year, maybe during their duration of coursework, I think it's better if you organize such workshop during the coursework. It is really helpful. I feel so because I am a first year PhD student. My coursework is going on right now, and I found this workshop really helpful. To be very honest, I found this really helpful regarding the plagiarism, regarding publications, and there is things to be followed in the lab regarding the data manipulation and everything. So finally, I would like to thank everyone gathered here, and thanks for giving me a chance to share my opinion on this workshop. Thank you one and all gathered here.
Thank you, Rajma, for your feedback. Now I call upon Azika Muslim from the Department of Political Science.
Members of the high table, all protocol observed and highly respected. Virtually, there are so many things to say, so many things to explain, and a lot of things to appreciate and respect of this workshop. We were asked to make a comment regarding the workshop, and definitely it is very, very educative, highly informative, which is highly organized strategically, solidly planned by the Education Department. All knowledge emanates from education. That's why it is called Education Department. With due respect and highly appreciating to the Education Department, this workshop has become successful. This is the last day of the workshop. The central thesis of this workshop is the questions of ethics. But what is ethics? Ethics is just simply being defined as do's and don'ts, or what is right and what is wrong. The aim of this workshop is to inculcate the spirit of writing, both research and publications. And not only writing, but writing ethically. Because there were a lot of writings that does not respect the ethics in writing. We were told about the issue of plagiarism, the issue of using of different softwares to check plagiarism, and the questions of misconduct. But the question is, what is misconduct? If you go by definition, it is a serious offense which is susceptible of investigation and proof. This is exactly what misconduct is. And you can find misconduct everywhere, just like the way you can find ethics. The last speaker of this workshop has talked about virtue. The issue of ethical issues were all about virtues. Because the political science department and political science research scholars know what is virtue. Virtue is all about good things. The questions of integrity, the questions of respect, the questions of ethics. Remember that if you write ethically, either a publication or your thesis, there are two benefits. There is an internal benefit and there is an external benefit. An internal benefit is a credit that will go to your department. An external benefit, the benefit that will directly go to the university. So therefore, this workshop has exposed us to different ethical issues that we should respect in the process of our writing. The professor of political science in the name of Professor Phil Dermond has talked about issues of ethics. He said, once you master your knowledge, you are done with the issue of ethics. So ethical issues, not only in writing, even in the society, in the family, everywhere you can find ethical issues, and they are expected to be respected. So the workshop, as I said, has inculcated the spirit of writing, and not only writing, but writing in an ethical manner. So on behalf of myself and the Department of Political Science and the Research Scholars, this is a very informative workshop which was organized by the Department of Education. So with due respect and appreciation to the Department of Education, we hope to see at least another workshop and perhaps even a conference if possible, that will make the department to test how far have we used the lectures that was delivered to us in the 6 days of this workshop, because scholars are expected maybe to present their papers for corrections before publications. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Asika, for sharing your opinion. Now it's the time to listen to our presidential remark. I invite Dr. Gerard Santosh D'Souza, Dean Faculty of Education, Bangalore University, to address us.
Thank you, sister. The chief guest of this valedictory function, Professor Dharma, in his absence, the advisor of the Department of MEd, Professor Shashikala, and the coordinator, Dr. Chidan, and all my dear research scholars. I think all of you must be tired. After all these 6 days of work, still these people are not giving us certificates. Fine. And for me, a president, when he has to speak, there is one advantage. That is, he can hear the others speak, then he can just copy some from them. Plagiarism he can do, right? Another advantage is that if the time is running out, anyway they have spoken so much, I can just add a little bit and finish off. Anyway, I don't want to speak much also, because I'll just give some of my opinions. A thought came to my mind, In Kannada there is a saying, if you want to experience life, mane maadi nodu, mane katti nodu, maduve maadi nodu. Means you have to, for those who don't know Kannada, you have to build a house and you have to marry to experience life, to know what is life, right? Maybe mane maadi nodu may be still apt now, but maduve maadi nodu I don't know, because nowadays youngsters, they just postpone. I have to learn that, I have to learn this, I have to learn everything. People are not interested now because all are independent and the times are such. In education there is one more research PhD in education, higher education. Everyone wants to come and do research. As soon as he finishes his post-graduation, sometimes before finishing the post-graduation, they don't want to do research. Right. Sometimes back, nowadays, we used to see the people who are doing research, or some doctors, so and so. My God, they are such scholars, such professors. We cannot even to think of doing research, we should have qualification. Right. You need to think of doing research. Am I that, do I have that caliber or that capacity? But slowly what has happened is, Please don't misunderstand when you talk all this negative. Normally I speak negatively. I do it. I'm a very critic actually, not negatively, but constructive criticism for people to do correct, right? So what is happening now is just like in all walks of life. As the population increases, the crime increases. As the vehicles increases, the accidents increase. And people, there is road rage, people breaking the laws, and even in this, because as population increases, people's needs increase, and they have to do all kind of unethical things to survive, right? So even here in education also, the government has made it mandatory for PhD even to get a job, and so we can't blame people, for everyone to come into research. I don't say everyone should not come into research, but many people do not have aptitude towards research. Like Professor Dharma said, some people cannot write or cannot express actually, cannot do research actually, but they have to do because they have to get a job and their friends are doing. So I have to also do research. Everyone's talking about research, right? And so many people have problems. For example, especially ladies, the family problems. Some have just got married, they've got a family life, they can't do research, but they have to do research. They're forced to do research because of certain things, because they don't get promotions, they don't get jobs. Now that is the thing happening over here today. But as quantity, just what I said was as quantity increases, quality decreases, right? But can it be different for research? As quantity increase, can quality also increase? Because research is related to each individual, right? Not all together they don't do research. Each one does a research of his own. So if each one helps himself or herself, thinks positively by himself or herself, I think the research can improve as a whole. So how many of you here are still doing coursework in the coursework process? Can I see some hands? Okay, thank you. I think most of you might have come here because you got second paper. I can add more, right? That is one reason. Second is, for my coursework students also, I tell them, last time I have become a guide last 11 years. I'm just learning what is research, right? They say, less like our professor, Vice Chancellor, Honorable Vice Chancellor said in the beginning, research starts after you do research, after you get a PhD. And the PhD should not end by becoming a zero. It should be the beginning of something. It should not be terminal over there. After you do PhD, you do actual research. That should be there. You have to continue research there, because in the process of doing PhD, you learn so many new things, so many things which should not have been done, which you have already done. You can't undo it. In computer it was easy. You press Ctrl X, everything can be undone. But in research, you cannot undo things once you do that. Once you cross a point of, let's say, data collection. You cross a point of data collection. Oh, I should have done this way, I should have changed my questionnaire, I should have added these questions, I should have added these options, I should have done my procedure this way, methodology this way. What you can do you want to repeat your research? Then comes there all kind of shortcuts, if it's possible, right? And you start copying things like, for example, like say plagiarism or references or methodologies. Anyway, so while you're doing coursework, I tell my students, just like I said, I also started learning now only when I started guiding students. That too after 10 years of guiding, so I'm seeing the light of things actually. I tell them the references, the related literature is the crux or the principal, what is important, the central point of your research. Maybe you are adding new research, new knowledge, or maybe you are extending the knowledge, whatever already is there in research. But so many people have done so good researches. I think you have to learn from that. For example, if you are in sciences, like for example, I'm in sport, the sports sciences are there. So many researchers, I'm not telling you to copy that. But if you read at least 100, 200 literatures which are in your area, that is your area of interest, I'm sure you can do a new research, finding out what methodology they have done, how they have gone about their research, what kind of new technology they have done. I think you will have a lot of insights. But I'll ask you frankly, for example, compared to in sports, basketball, especially girls don't play much of basketball, boys play, girls play a little bit. The score in the end of the match will be like a football score. 5-6, 7-5, you see NBA, it will be 100, 90, 100, 200, 120 and all that. But in girls match normally, it'll be like 12-5, 13-5, all those like volleyball points. So then I asked them, what is the main thing for you to win a basketball match? Main thing is shooting, right? However much you play, if you don't score, let's say cricket match, you stay in the crease till the end of 50 overs in one match. I don't know how many of you know it. Before it was 60 overs match in 1983 and all those things. Before 1983 when India won the World Cup match, Gavaskar was there. It seems he played for 20-30 overs and scored just some 20-30 runs. Right, that time there was no pinch hitter and all those things, but at least they used to score like 4-5 average. But he scored around 2 average something. Because there's no, in research, there's no use staying for such a long time and playing that kind of a game, right? So I asked them, in basketball, shooting is important. Scores, I asked them, how many times do you practice? Simple question. How many hours you spend in shooting? Because that's the most important thing. Sir, we shoot 10-20 times we do, all of us included, and then we play the match and go. In actually, they spend hours shooting. So even when you sleep, if I say the basket is there, you should be able to shoot. That is accuracy. Many of the solutions are there right under our noses. But the human nature is such, when the solution is right under our noses, we go and search for solutions everywhere, all around the world. We try to complicate things because we want to make it complicated. People want to make things complicated. Then I did such a complicated thing. Simple things people cannot do it because it will become too simple. You can write a research. Same thing in research. What I feel, research is very simple if we just break it down into certain things. Our evaluation and registrar evaluation just said people take 6-8 years. Even we were in the committees, people 15 years, 12 years. Okay, maybe there are one or two people who really have some problems about that. But most of the students, I tell my students, God has given you 2 legs, 2 hands, sense organs which are working well. You're so strong, so healthy, and you get, my God, 3-4 years to do it, man, and you get to see and write also, and still you want 10 years. If I ask you, sir, which is the most difficult thing to do in studies? PhD, they say. But I feel PhD is the most easiest thing to do. In PG, UG, you have to read so many things and you have to memorize. Then you have to write within 3 hours. That too 3 years you take, right? But in research, what you do? As long as you do everything properly, you get time. You get 3 years or 4 years, 5 years, and then 1 year you take 6 years. You get time to do references, you see the very related literature. Only thing of which you should be very careful is collect the data with the methodology. And even that, if you plan it out, in management they say, to plan it out, you have to write it down, black and white. Many of us, write it in the air. Hey, by December I have to do this, over. Then it will come next December. Fine. There's a saying, suppose you don't like mathematics, right? Mathematics is very difficult for many people, right? Or mathematics or science in high schools and all. You write down on the wall somewhere, on a cupboard somewhere, or somewhere you write, I love science. So you go, I love science. You go there, I love science. You start to eat, I love science. Then you start loving science. What is science? Science is easy because it is, reinforcement you say. Many of the things we ourselves make it. It's difficult. What is difficult about research? When you have opted for a research, why it should be difficult to you? Maybe I am in sports, you say bioscience. Okay, for me it is difficult. Maybe it might go over my head. But you are a bioscience student, you are a specialist in that. How it can be difficult if you plan well? You plan well, you write it down. For my research, I will tell you, starting 2 years, just like a sprint, arm and mola there. So like a mola, I went very fast. Right, I collected everything, related literature, everything. That time we had introduction, related literature, methodology and all. Then I got married. 1 year, I lost contact. Then I thought, if this thing happens, I will never end up doing it. Then next year, again I sat down and did the, questionnaires, I collected everything. Of course, since I had the skills of writing, I had the skills of computer, I had the skills of Excel, everything I did on my own because I had the skills. That is one more thing which you have to develop to be a researcher. Fine. So you have to plan it out. By this time, you can write it down. By this time, I will finish this. By this time I'll finish this. Give a grace period of maybe 1 month or 2 months. It's easy to be done. So you can easily do it. Suppose I say in 1 year, introduction, related literature, may take 2 years for data collection, right? 3 years over, and then 1 year for writing. Write it down. I think it is going to be easy for you. Don't take 5, 6, 7 years. You will be the nuisance for everyone. Even in your family, you will be nuisance. And even for teachers, you will be a nuisance, and even for the administration, you will be a nuisance. Last, you have to write letters and letters, you have to pay fines and fines. I tell they say, sir, no money, sir, to pay. I said, if you had finished in 4 years, you would have finished in 4 years. Now it takes 8 years, 4 extra years of 15,000 something, 60,000 you are spending, and tell no money. See, when you don't have money, people struggle to finish. Hey, I don't want to spend more. But here, I don't know why things are happening. I'm sure all of you, all young faces I can see, all energetic. Plan it now. Just like I said in inauguration, I said things have become very easy now. You can get everything, even the plagiarism, you can check online also. Everything you can do online. Grammarly you get. Of course, be very careful about that also. But still, you get that Grammarly also. We can do everything, and why it becomes so difficult for you to do? But only difficulty is there in our mind. It's the limits of the mind which are making things difficult for us. Right? Do you agree with that? Do you agree with that? I'm sure you have to agree. Even if you say no, I'll tell you have to agree. Because always we don't want to do. We have other things to do. Go with friends. I'll do tomorrow. See, you have come to research. See that your research findings are applicable somewhere. One more important thing I wanted to say was why ethics are being forced on you, or why people are not becoming ethical. Relatively, I'm telling. Because people want the results to be proved. If I say, by doing strength training, you improve your speed, my result should do that. My result should give results to show that this thing is happening. If my results do not show, what should I do? What will I do? If my results show weight training does not improve speed, what will I do? Slowly I'll do some kind of things and say positive. This is, see, my research shows that. There is no right and wrong for research. There is no pass and fail for research. Please know. Then what is the use of research? Suppose, okay, in our field or maybe in social sciences, it doesn't matter much. But in science, if you do like this, if you say this material, this chemical, help in the curing of your COVID or something, and you want to prove that, and you say, hey, my research is not proving, we'll do something so that it proves it can cure. Can you do that? Then so many people would die, isn't it? So that is a problem over here. There is no right and wrong. There is no pass and fail. If your methodology is correct, if you are following the certain principles, protocols, I think you can bravely show to the world, see, this is my research. I am a new researcher. Please give me some kind of award because I have proved this. That should be the thing in research. You don't be scared of anything. Don't be scared of disproving what everyone is proving. Of course, provided you do everything in a proper manner, protocols, procedures, and all those things, right? So I don't want to take much of your time. I just told you what is there in my mind, what I tell my students so that the research becomes good, so that at least Mangalore University researchers give good papers, good publications, see that it becomes helpful for others. Don't just make it for Namke Vaste or anything. Of course, all cannot do it, but at least as many people as possible come, especially in social sciences coming field. How many of you are in social sciences? Right? There is no other field more than social science or humanities where you have to express through words, right? He said, words can change the thesis. Suppose you say, my glass is half full, always negative. My glass is half empty. It's half empty. It's no use of this methodology, no use of that. My research shows it's half empty. Instead of this, my glass is half full. The research has done this. It's a simple matter of changing your perception, right? So learn all these skills, and just like I said before, skills are very, very important. I had a research scholar who is absconding now. I don't know where he is also. I don't blame him, but he could not type even one sentence in computer. He was searching how to write. I said, I made him sit in my room. I said, your second report is due, please write. At least I showed the other people, I said, at least that format you write. I went and had my food, everything. After 3 hours I come, he's just sitting there like this, sir, enta madudu gottilla. Maybe he's bright, I don't know about all that. But if you do not have skills, you have to depend everything on others. Please don't do that. Writing skills are very easy now. 6 years of research you are doing. If you are not still do not have proper writing skills, calculative skills, Excel skills, or SPSS skills, or graph skills, learn them. It's very, very easy. In 1 year you can become a expert in that. Right? With these few words, thank you very much. I hope this 6 weeks workshop was useful to you. Try to take whatever you got from this workshop, try to inculcate in your research, try to be good researchers, and all the best to you. Please finish it off within 4 or 6 years, depending on your part-time or full-time. Okay? With these words, I also thank the organizers for giving me an opportunity to stand over here and speak to young researchers, young students. Always love to speak to young students because we are getting older and older. I came to this field, sports field, because I wanted to be with youngsters, always go with sports. I could have done other things also in commerce, and I was a commerce student. And same thing, because we are in teaching, I think teaching, that is the biggest advantage, always with young people. So we are also remain young. Looking at young people, we also remain young. Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you very much, sir, for your words of inspiration and guidance. At last, we are at the most awaited moment of the workshop, that is, the distribution of the certificates to the participants. I request Dr. Gerard Santosh D'Souza, Dean Faculty of Education, Bangalore University, to do this noble task. Dear participants, we have chosen a few members to receive the certificates on the desk. A rest will be collecting their certificates from the attendance register counter. As your names are called out, kindly come and collect the certificates.
Avinash, Arshita Kamble, Delna Lobo, Asina Sheikh, Suresh DS, Ingaraju S, Nivea Mendapa, Pavitra, Raghu H. Meghamani, Vasudha, Rajashekar Zuppe, Sandhya,
Thank you, sir, for distributing the certificates to our participants. Now we are at the end of the program, and it's time to thank everyone for the success of this 6 days workshop. Dear participants, kindly note a few minutes of words of gratitude, after which you are requested to collect your certificates.
Good afternoon, all. Good afternoon, all. Being thankful and expressing your gratitude is an important part of being happy in life. Finding the proper way to thank others for their generosity or even reminding ourselves just how much we have to be thankful for can be rewarding. It is my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. First of all, I would like to thank Almighty God for made this program successful. By His invisible presence, we are able to make the program what it was. On the absence of the chief guest, on behalf of Department of Education, Mangalore University, I extend a really hearty vote of thanks to our chief guest, Professor P.L. Dharma, Register Evaluation, Mangalore University, who spared time for his busiest schedule to grace the occasion. Today we had an opportunity to hear his thoughts, and this will surely be going to encourage us in our future events. Thank you, sir. I am immensely thankful to Dr. Gerald Santosh D'Souza, Dean of Education and Faculty of MPEd, for presiding over the function and assisting us in all the administrative proceedings. Thank you so much, sir. I also want to extend my generous gratitude to Dr. Shashikala A., Advisor, Department of Education, MEd, Mangalore University, for her involvement in the program. Thank you, madam. I take this occurrence to thank all the resource persons who have shared their knowledge and enlightened our minds. An event of this dimension cannot happen overnight. There should be a planning, preparation, and hard work. The man behind all this is our coordinator, Dr. Chidananda A.L., Department of Education, MEd. He always stands by us and motivates us. Heartfelt gratitude to our sir. The program would not have been a great success without the support of guidance from the lecturer and staff of Department of Education, MEd, Bangalore University. Thank you, each one of you. I want to extend my generous thanks to every participant who has come from different departments. You made this workshop successful. Thank you, one and all. I would sincerely like to thank Mr. Chandrasekhar and Hari Prasad, photographer and videographer, Mangalore University. I would also thank Sinan for making a video of this 6 days event. I also thank Department of Physical Education for their cooperation and their willingness to provide this seminar hall for 6 days, especially for their technical assistance and stage settings. Thank you, sir. I would sincerely thank our MEd colleague, Ms. Lamy, Dr. Crissia Laura Pinto, and Venkatachala for their contribution to this workshop. I extend my thanks to Ms. Lamy for hosting today's event. I extend my special thanks and heartfelt gratitude to all our MEd and MPed students for their generous support, cooperation, and active involving themselves in organizing this program. Thank you, students. Finally, I would also like to thank Mr. Ramanna and Rajesh Shetty for serving refreshment, as well as all caretakers for their generosity. Thank you everyone once again for your gracious presence. Thank you.